So I'm sure some of you saw the Spider-Man 2 gameplay showcase that was actually presented here at the PlayStation's showcase and all that stuff. But apparently there are mixed feelings about this stuff here online. I'm seeing people, by and large, but I'm trying to vet who I take their opinions on Twitter regarding this conversation. I don't want to go get somebody who's a troll, who's trying to troll Sony and then take their opinion. But again, even these opinions as they differ, it may be the minority opinion. And to be very fair, as a non-Spider-Man fan, I actually do disagree with some of these opinions slightly. Not saying that I want to throw them away. Like this one here, Fabrizio said, as a fan of Spider-Man on PS4 and Miles Morales, I must say that what they showed for Spider-Man 2 was pretty underwhelming. No doubt the game will be fun, but those visuals and water physics were rough. Jay says, as someone who got the platinum in both games and invested multiple hours in them, I agree. Now, these are two comments. We're not going to stake entire perceptive analyses on them, but I do at least want to say, what if we get this representation of, arguments about them as time goes on? How do we go about it? My very first reaction to this is I'm not necessarily, 100% on what they're saying. Even though I see reasons with what they're saying, I think it's just that side of, overwhelming yourself with expectations that are not necessarily going to be realistic. I mean, they already have in my opinion anyways, a formula that works. So already you're going to see very similar game mechanics here, which is what we got to see overall. Now, yes, some of the combat elements here that you're seeing with Peter and the symbiote suit are quite unique, but the uniqueness doesn't really stand out because overall, they've taken everything harnessed from the 2018 game and Miles Morales and put it together in this package, and everybody so far can see that regardless of what it is that they're doing here, they're trying to target something that doesn't make the game feel too foreign for gamers. They want you to still have all the benefits that it actually, these games brought with them. So I can say that might be one of the reasons that these folk might be saying it's underwhelming. Another thing too is the atmosphere that this game was showcased in. You see, this is a really big deal. Man, I know Insomniac is going for a dark theme for this particular Spider-Man game. There's no doubt about that. They're trying to get this, this is a very dark, gruesome Spider-Man game. So they decided to go ahead and showcase this scene that looks like sometime getting closer to sunset, because that's what this time, looks like. There could be much more brighter scenes that you see here. And so this particular atmosphere for something that is an unveiling of a game that a lot of people are waiting for seems to have not necessarily vibed with some people. I'm just looking at it from a game, development perspective, and I'm just impressed overall. So, I'm looking at it from their perspective, but then again, I want to crack, the code and look behind the veil as to what's going on. So I think the atmosphere is something that, we saw with that. And then there's also a theme that's going on here with the game and the developers probably wanting the story to be a lot darker. I don't know if you guys saw from the beginning when they showed Kraven and that little scene where he tracks or stalks one of his own, men and basically offs him. That was really grim. That was straight dark. So you could already tell that the theme for this game is kind of dark. You look at the menus and the UI, you can see that the color changes are no longer that huge, vibrant blue that you got from Miles Morales and the Spider-Man game. Instead, what you're getting is something a little more, grungy in a sense, darker colors. This is what they're trying to represent out here. They've kind of tweaked things here to show it this way. This will probably not be the final project. They might go ahead and, tweak things a bit, but look at the amount of blood splatter that's all over the place. I don't know, this might get a teen rating, but again, you can tell that this is something that the developers are wanting to represent in the game. So you get to see that. In fact, as as Miles is tracking down, Lizard, you get to see a lot of the tracks of his mayhem that he's pretty much leaving all over the place. In fact, look at this, it's all fish guts, but still they want to kind of balance that. This is kind of a dark atmosphere or a dark scenario. Something really bad is going on. And I think that's the theme that you need when you're representing Venom in your game. So these are some of the things that I suspect may be making some people say, it just didn't feel overwhelming because this is what you're seeing over here. Another thing, too, is this could also be a cinematic filter. I'm coming at this from the different possibilities. And so I wouldn't necessarily throw down too much, of my judgments just yet, especially if you're a Spider-Man fan. You would want to wait and kind of see how things really generally play out. You see Peter is acting like Dark Parker, like Parker Darker or something, Darker Parker or whatever the heck it is you want to call him. And, I guess that's what we're trying to relay here. But I really did like the fact that now they're representing more of the open world. This is kind of like an Uncharted scene. This reminds me of that chase scene in Uncharted. And, the developers at Insomniac are probably, tapping on Naughty Dog's, window going, hey, we got these too, And Naughty Dog's like, oh, you got those? They do got those. And so that's pretty cool for me in how I see the way they've represented all of this stuff. And so the water, the jet ski chase scenes are actually quite solid. They're superb, in my opinion. The way they've basically taken the chase scenes using the vehicles, and pretty much it's the same. It's a similar mechanic, and they've basically taken it and kind of made it something quite unique in a sense. To me, I really like what they've been able to do here. The one thing, though, that we didn't necessarily get to see, and, I don't know how we're going to get to see that represented, is the throwing of hands when it comes to, the bosses and so on and so forth. This glide mechanic is actually pretty cool, even though it looks like it's going to be a little weird. I don't know how the controls are going to feel. We'll see. I hope it feels smooth. I think it will. These guys over in Insomniac, these are mad scientists over here, man. These aren't human beings. These developers are not human. And so the way they actually do their mechanics and stuff is actually pretty cool. And for the art style, I like the photorealistic look. It's just, like I said, the atmosphere that they picked was probably something that, you can't really judge for the psychological, whatever, because a lot of us had to sit through, long minutes of watching a lot of video game trailers that we didn't care about. And so that kind of numbed your brain. In fact, when we kind of saw the Spider-Man game, I was like, okay, it's Spider-Man. Could I be excited? Should I have been excited? I was thinking to myself. So I think these may have been some of the things that are putting, all of this in perspective. But again, it's a formula that works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, But I do see, though, that as time goes on, the developers are going to be judged for not making significant changes to bringing a new generation Spider-Man to people, which, again, I don't know what people say when they mean what they mean. I don't know what people mean when they say next gen. To me, I just think they're talking about possibly getting better frame rates and resolution and better textures and quality, delivered. These things have already been there in your game engines, in your, 3D software and so on and so forth. It's just we just haven't had machines that would allow for them to be rendered. But by and large, now we can actually render them. But for people to say that they're actually next-gen features, it makes me laugh. It just means your hardware just got a boost. That's pretty much what it means. So the expectations are all going to be very all over the place. And, man, I fear for Insomniac and the fans. I hope people can temper their expectations to a realistic extent. We look forward to seeing what more may come about with all of this. It should be interesting overall. So I guess that's pretty much my video for now on this particular subject matter. It'll be interesting to see how things turn out. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.